Hello, and welcome to another episode of the CBL Changeup. Mark Pare, Dan Dominguez here. You notice my hat? It's a hockey hat. That means we are getting ever so close to hockey season, but for the baseball season, that means it is just about done. We have just 1 week left on the CBL campaign before we go into the playoffs. And Dan, in the worst kept secret in the CBL. The 5 teams, they are now officially set. Barrie clinches their spot, and the 5 teams that we have had our eyes on for the last several weeks now are officially in to the CPL postseason. But we're actually going to start with a team that's not in that top 5, and it's the hottest team in the Canadian Baseball League. I got to see them up close and personal last Monday night. The Brantford Red Sox, what's going on? 6 games in a row. 3 of them have been against the Toronto Maple Leafs. We'll look at one in particular in just a moment, but a couple of wins over Barrie, a win over Hamilton. They're 13-9 at home. What's going on with these guys?
Oh, the hitting's been tremendous. Pitching performances, both starting pitcher and bullpen. Next year, I think they're going to have to change their calendar, just make every month August, because we saw it in 2025 and now in 2026, rolling off a 6-game winning streak and being the best team in the CBL this month. They're playing well. Just a little bit too late for them, but again, hopefully, just like last year, maybe momentum going into 2027.
I am looking up one of those particular games. We have a new leader in most runs scored in a game. 40 runs scored, 22-18. Brantford over Toronto last Wednesday night. Thomas West, Zach Benoit on the call on that one. I hope they had some extra lozenges available because that was a game. The fact that they scored 40 runs and it was still a 4-hour game right on the dot is actually shocking to me. But when you look at the result of that, yet again, a lot of those runs were scored in the 9th inning alone. I thought that they were going to be taking their foot off the gas pedal near the end. No, 9th inning comes around. Okay, let's just score 12 more runs. Like what?
Yeah, that's
What
the
the
funniest
heck?
thing. You look at going into the 9th inning. Oh, wow, high scoring game, 15-13. Nope, we're going to drop another 12 on you here and make you spend another hour at the ballpark. So just a crazy game. Something that you might see even this final week. There's a lot of games, a lot of makeup games, suspended games. Pitching is very, very thin. You might even see some, in some teams put it. We've already seen it with Toronto, CK having some position players playing in the field. So it's starting to get a little thin here down the stretch for some teams.
By the way, the man who had 9 RBI in that game is our player of the week. We'll touch more on him when we get to that segment. But when you take a look at the hitting across both of these two teams, I mean, first of all, 19-15, Brantford out hitting Toronto. 5 errors combined in that one as well. But is this just another part of the puzzle when it comes to just how good hitting has been in the CBL, or is it more on the pitching side?
Well, again, you touched on the hits. I'm looking at the strikeouts. There were 23 strikeouts that game.
Mhm.
So some guys are swinging and missing, or maybe they're just looking for fence shots on everyone and going for broke. It's hard to say. Obviously, the hitting for the most part in the league is definitely higher. There are obviously exceptions. We've talked about Hamilton in the past with their pitching staff and a number of other ones that we've seen in those top 5 playoff teams. But yeah, for the most part, the CBL and the old IBL has always been a hitters league. High scoring games, smaller parks in a few areas. So we're going to see that. Hopefully not a lot of 40-run games, but we're always going to see some high scoring affairs.
Just a head scratcher. But again, the Brantford Red Sox, a 6-game winning streak, a 13-9 record at home, better than the Barrie Baycats, who are in the playoffs right now. But again, the Brantford Red Sox doing some yeoman's work. But as we move into those teams that have made the playoffs, the Barrie Baycats, they clinched their final playoff spot as part of a very, very busy week. 5 games in 6 days. They go 2-3 on the week. they end up inching their way into the playoff clincher, but Very Baycats, sub 500. You'd like to see a little bit more from them based on the talent that roster has.
Yeah, they've been championship in the last couple of championships. Won one 2 years ago. We know, the top of that rotation is strong. The batting lineup is consistent, but we've seen this year it's just some low scoring games. They just haven't been able to come over the top. We've talked about also their defense at times has been little bit underwhelming at times. So, and I'm sure that's cost them a game or two. And then just that that home record just not being that great this year. They've been kind of road warriors. So it'll be interesting to see what comes down. It looks like they're going to be settling into that 4 or 5 spot. So they're going to have that big 1-game playoff in about a week or so.
Question is, who are they going to play against? Is
Yeah.
it going to be Hamilton? Is it going to be Guelph? Could it be Welland falling from second spot all the way into fourth? I mean, it remains to be seen. I don't think Welland will fall into that 4-5 spot. It feels like it's going to be Hamilton or Guelph. But when you look at those two, for the Guelph Royals, obviously they have their week where they've won 2 in a row. They're 4.5 back of top spot with just a couple of games remaining. The Royals, they have the rainouts against Hamilton on Saturday. But previous to that, 3 games, they lose to Chatham, they beat Barrie, and then they end up with a late game performance to defeat the Hamilton Cardinals. So, just a couple of games left for them, including London, Brantford, and Hamilton. That big one is going to be against the Hamilton Cardinals next Saturday night. That could be the decider in who has to play in that 1-game playoff and who makes it into that 2-3 spot.
Yeah, for sure. Guelph with just the 3 games left. Hamilton has 6 games left, but at this point, we're not sure if that's a good thing. They've on that little bit of a funk right now. They won their last one, but they had, I think, a 4-game losing streak before that. And a key thing to watch, though, when the final standings are done, Guelph is sitting with tiebreakers both over Hamilton and Barrie. So if they do end up with the same amount of wins for that 3-4 spot, right now Guelph gets the edge and over both those teams on the tiebreaker on head-to-head.
Now, here's my dilemma. If you're a Guelph Royals fan, sure, getting into a best of 7 series guaranteed is always nice. But if the playoffs were to start today, that second place would be against the Welland Jackfish, who you have had all kinds of trouble against this season. You compare it to the other teams that are in the playoffs right now. Do you risk going for that 1-game playoff, getting the win over Barrie, and then possibly play Hamilton, who you've beaten in the playoffs last season, and you've had a little bit of success against this year? I mean, it's kind of that catch-22. Do you sacrifice the ranking in order to not have to deal with Welland immediately, or do you just go for broke and just, okay, let's go after Welland and beat them in a best of 7?
I'm pretty confident if you were to ask Dino Ramel that question next time you see him, he'll take the 7-game series against Welland 100 times out of 100. He's been around baseball. I've seen a ton of baseball. You have. You don't want a baseball game coming down to just a 1-game playoff for all the marbles after 48 games. Baseball is a crazy game. You can watch a game every night of the week and see something different. And it just takes that one play to throw the momentum, change the game, and then maybe all of a sudden you're watching the round of 4 from your couch at home if something goes wrong in that playoff game.
Yeah, and nothing is guaranteed once you make it into the playoffs too. I mean, you could make it past that 4-5 matchup and play London, but London has shown that they have been, in my opinion, the best team in the CBL front to back. They have won 3 straight games. Yes, they had their Saturday game postponed against the Royals, but this London Majors team, they continue to impress right now, and they are really hitting it into that next gear going towards the playoffs right now.
Yeah, no, I've liked their team the entire year. London, again, we talked, they were the unknown with so much changeover for the most of the team. That heart was still there. Diolio and some of the rotation, Keys and Piano, and Skylar Janice on the back end. But for like you said, from start to finish, they've been as consistent as a team as there is in the CBL, and deservedly so. They're sitting on top of the heap right now.
Now, when you look at these 5 teams, there is also the question on qualifications to make it into the playoffs as a player. Again, we've touched on it in the past. You need 7 games, 7 appearances, and 14 innings pitched as a pitcher in order to qualify for the playoffs, or as a hitter, 32 plate appearances. As you take a look at the list of the 5 teams in the CBL, it really feels like, other than maybe a player here and there for a couple of teams, these 5 have done a really good job in getting guys in there at the right times in order to get their appearances in, get their plate appearances in, get their innings in order for them not have to scramble down the stretch here.
For sure. The managers of those 5 playoff teams are all pretty veteran managers. They've seen a lot of ball. They know what they're going to need come playoff time. And then even down the stretch here in the final week, if there's the opportunity where they need to get a few guys at either an inning here, an appearance there, they're going to make sure they do it. They're well aware of the numbers they need and what's left on these guys. And then on the other side, they'll take the time to maybe get some guys a little bit of rest down the stretch if needed. If they're playing a game either that gets out of hand early or doesn't mean anything, I'm sure they'll get some guys off their feet just to be careful, because we've seen it. Welland had some injuries down the stretch already. So I know Gio Morello, we haven't heard officially, but hurt his shoulder in CK last week. And we're not sure if we're going to see him again for the rest of 2026.
Now, breaking it down with these 5 different teams, well, and nobody really of notes. I mean, if you do want to throw in a couple of their backup catchers as options for playoffs, they would need a Herculean effort for the last few games of the year in order to actually make it into playoff qualification. But it feels like they have their roster set in there, who will compete in the CBL playoffs. London, you got Perez and Orfeli. Perez still needs an appearance. Orfeli needs 2 1/3 innings in order to qualify for the playoffs. You look at Guelph, Luca Boscarino, he's been coming in and out of the lineup more as, a late innings replacement bat, still needs 6 plate appearances. Carson Burns needs 14 plate appearances in there. Merrick Deska, the pitcher, he just needs an out. That's really all he needs at this point, is an out. Owen Newman, he has come on since the transaction deadline. Still needs a couple of appearances, still needs some innings to get in there as well. Hamilton, you have Jeremy VU and Champ Garner that still need a handful of plate appearances each in order to make it in there. Tyler Plumpton still needs quite a bit if he wanted to qualify for the playoffs. As I look at it right now, Tyler Plumpton, where is it here? In terms of plate appearances, he is at 14 plate appearances, so he would still need 18 plate appearances. I don't think he's going to get it with the amount of games that are remaining in the regular season. And then when you look at the pitching staff, Brad Grieveson has already qualified in terms of appearances, but he would still need 2 more innings. Juan Mejia still needs an appearance. Ronnie Rosario still needs an appearance and 4 innings of work. Hayden Jaco's already qualified as a hitter, even though he has pitched in 3 games. So there's a handful of guys that are out there that still need an inning here, a appearance there. But again, for the most part, it does seem like when it comes to playoff qualifications, it's not really going to be much of a topic in the last few games of this regular season.
Yeah, no, it looks like everyone's in order. And then I know the injured list, I guess we'll have to see. I assume it's the same rules where you get if someone on for 7 days, and we see some teams kind of recycling their players on the injured list.
Yeah. Let's go into records, because it is a 48 game season, and we got to say this out front. 48 games, it's expanded. We're going to see records broken. One has already been broken. A few of them are on the cusp of it in the next game or so. But again, 48 games, this is kind of the inevitable, if you will, the new era. It's the new CBL, more games to work with. and more standards to be hit and more glass ceilings to break through. The biggest one that we have been covering has been Yasiel Puig. He's been getting all the attention. He's at now 19 home runs, not including the game that he has tonight. We're recording this on a Monday afternoon. He plays in Chatham Monday night. Possibility he might get to 20, maybe to 21. Maybe he breaks the record. Who knows? But he's at 19 as we record this right now, but it's not the only record that we're keeping an eye on right now. Ryan Lipinski of the London Majors back in 2013 had a couple of records. He got 81 hits, 21 doubles. Those records are nearing their ending dates as Michael Escotto is only 3 hits back. Jonah Weisner of Welland is only 2 doubles back. Gio Morello, his runs record from 2022, he crossed the plate 60 times. Daike Abe, 57 runs across right now. Sean Riley's 2013 RBI record, 60. That's already been broken. Ethan Mann, 63 RBI as we sit here today. And how about the record broken just last year? Ryan DeSantos, 46 walks. I don't think it's going to be broken this year, but he currently leads the league. He is at 36 right now. And just one more note when it comes to franchise records, Christian and Noah 15 homers for the London Majors. That ties a franchise mark, which was set in 2022 by both Cleveland Brownlee and Robert Mullen as part of that big time back to back London Majors championship year.
Yeah, and speaking of those same London Majors, as a team currently sit at 69 homers this year. The record for as far back as I could find some records currently sits at 73 from Braeden Ferrington's 2022 London Majors. So 4 homers, and they still have 4 more games to go. So they have a good shot of breaking their own team record.
Yeah. Again, 48 games. It's inevitable. We're going to see these things broken. Just the way it is. It's the new CBL, folks. But I did put something else out there this week, and it was our Saturday stat. And I just decided to have a little bit of fun with this. Someone sent me a message. I'm not going to say who, but wanted to maybe take a look at different stats, maybe a little bit differently than I have been, and really put me down a hole here, in the sense of when it looks at hit by pitch, that plus minus, you know, you're going to get a plus if your batters get hit. You're going to get a minus if your pitchers hit somebody in the box. Interpret the data all you want. It's like a song. And I always go back to a quote that David Grohl once said from the Foo Fighters. It's, I could tell you what the meaning of this song is, but I want you to determine the meaning for yourself because there could be about 50,000 different meanings out there because each and individual song can mean something different from one person to the next to the next. And that's how I kind of look at this hit by pitch. It could mean one thing to somebody, it could mean something completely different to somebody else. Dan, when you saw that stat, what did you make of it?
Well, my theory with I didn't time to look up to see if we're up or down from previous years or not. But with the high hit by pitch numbers, what I see when I watch many games is we've seen the strike zone in the CBL. We've seen the outside corner and maybe a ball or two off the corner being called. The result of that is a batter is going to get right up on the plate. They're going to be on top of that plate. And then part 2 of that, those batters, now the pitcher is going to try and come inside. And we're going to see batters not getting out of the way, A, because they know they're going to get on base, and B, they have the arm guard, they have the elbow pad, they have the armor up and down their front side. So, and more times than not, they can survive that hit by pitch and just get some base runners to help the team. We've seen, I think it's Robbie Mullen gets hit quite a bit, and there's a number of other guys in the league. You see it more and more, I think, in Major League Baseball as well. Just guys just stand right on top of the plate just to try and own that outside part so they can reach that outside corner. So that's going to happen. What I want to see is when those balls are coming on the inside corner, maybe the inside black, that umpires start giving that corner because, that might back some players off the plate potentially.
Right. Well, as we take a look at the final games of this regular season, you take a look at the 5 teams in the playoffs right now. London still 4 games to go, albeit you might as well just say 3.5 with that game against Welland being suspended. I'm hearing next Sunday is when they're actually going to resume that game at Labatt Park. No official announcement for the Guelph London rainout makeup date. It could be Wednesday from what I'm hearing as well. Kitchener Toronto now in a double header on Friday nights, which is very interesting to me. You'll see that start at 5 o'clock on a Friday night. Um, I'd imagine if you think about the 4-hour game that was played earlier this week between Brantford and Toronto, to get a double header at Christie Pitts starting at 5, Dan, what's the over under on when that game is going to end?
Well,
Or when the
remember
second game is going to end?
yeah, remember it's only 14 innings, right? A couple of 7-inning games. So thank goodness. I'm sure Thomas West appreciates that. But I was watching one of the other late games that Toronto's had lately, and he talked about how regardless if the games are over or not, at midnight those lights go off. So that'll be it's not going to go past midnight. If that's the over under, I'll take the under. But
All right.
it's because, like I said, one way or another, those lights are shutting off at midnight. So it'll definitely end before midnight. But that's going to be if assuming they give them 30 minutes in between games. If that first game goes long, they're going to have to hurry that second one along.
Seems like it. It's kind of the old call, and I might be dating myself as a 90s kid, but you go home when the lights turn on.
Yeah.
And you better be home and through your front door before the lights do come on. This the exact opposite. You better get your 2 games in before the lights go off, and we'll see if that plays a factor on Friday night. But Welland's another team with 3.5 games left. Um, Hamilton, of course, 5 games remaining in these final few days of the regular season. Guelph and Barrie still with 3 games apiece to go, and still pretty tight. Again, Welland and London only separated by a couple of games. Hamilton just a couple games and a half uh, ahead of both Hamilton and Guelph right now. It's still a pretty close race. It still could be very interesting down the stretch, and that 1 through 5 could be bouncing around a little bit from now until the end of the regular season. But before we go this week, we are going to go into our player and pitcher of the week. And Dan, I'm just going to let you take this one after we just say the name and say it loud, because there is only one man that is deserving of player of the week honors. He's from the Brantford Red Sox. Say it with me in 3, 2, and 1. Christian
Christian Kuzemka.
Uzemka.
It was I think this is the first time, I don't know, maybe in our podcast change up in IBL inside pitch history where it's been pretty much unanimous for player of the week. Kuzemka was spectacular. 13 for 22 on the week, 6 homers and 18 RBIs during the week, which is unbelievable. His OPS just barely shy of 2,000. Just a tremendous week. You can go up and down that lineup, and they've been spectacular, Brantford, in the month of August, as well as the last week. And then my pitcher of the week, Connor Irvin, 2.57 ERA, 7 innings pitched and 10 strikeouts against Barrie, a strong Barrie team. He got the no decision, but the team did come away with the victory. So that is the pitcher of the week. But again, unanimous decision with Kuzemka as the hitter of the week.
Well, when you're a team on a 6-game winning streak, it doesn't matter where you are in the standings. When these are weekly honors we're giving out, we're going to show you some love, because I'm going to go to a different pitcher with the Brantford Red Sox, a guy that started as a reliever this year and is now really, being able to play some really good baseball off the hill and getting a lot of innings in. I showed him some love last week. I'm going to show more love to him this week. Anthony Porcelato. I called that game on Monday where he went 8+ innings. And as we were going through that game, I started to ask myself, hey, is he going to go 7? Is he going to go 8? And then I start to see him come out for the 9th, and I'm like, okay, they're going to let him go for this. They're going to let him actually try to finish this one off. Of course, he ends up walking the first batter he sees and ends up getting pulled, but Fact of the matter is, he comes out of that game 6 strikeouts on the night. He only gave up a run, 4 hits, only walked a batter, and again, 8+ innings of work, and then follows that up in Barrie just 48 hours ago, 5 1/3. Yes, he gives up 5 earned runs, but it comes off of 6 hits, struck out 4. He walked 5 in that one as well. Not as like banner of a performance as he had on Monday night, but I'm going to give the award to Anthony Porchelato this week for my pitcher of the week because I can't ignore what he did on Monday night.
Yeah, no, he's been spectacular. He's currently sits tied in third in games pitched this year, 21 games pitched, but now that number will stay down. It looks like you can't take him out of the starting rotation now. He's been tremendous.
The next time we see all you guys, we will have the 5 teams set in their spots for the playoffs. We will know who will play in that 4 versus 5 matchup. The playoffs are just around the corner, just a week left in the Canadian Baseball League regular season. Until next time, he's Dan, I'm Mark. This has been another episode of the CBL Changeup.